Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yesterday's Sydney Morning Herald front page headline decreed, "We're full," says Sydney, and reported that more than 2/3 of people believe Sydney is full and property development should be pushed to the fringes. As the representative of the Newtown electorate, an electorate which on the last census was the highest density of any electorate in New South Wales, let me say this: we are not full, we are being failed. And there is a big difference between those two things. We might have the highest density of any electorate in New South Wales, but this is far from a bad thing. The neighbourhoods that make up the electorate of Newtown, like much of Sydney, are vibrant, bustling places, and that is what we love about living in our city. So I'm saying to the 2/3 of people that are saying that it's full, it feels full. It feels full because in actual fact, what is going on here is we are seeing the government failing to address the community needs that we have to make our cities work and thrive. Yes, our trains are crowded, our roads are congested, our classrooms are full, our hospital waiting lists are dismal, our green spaces are shrinking, we need more recreational places, but this does not mean that we are full. It means that the Premier and the Liberal and the state governments before the Gladys Berejiklian have let property developers become Sydney's playground. So let us get real about the reason why it feels full. It feels full not because of the people who live in our community, but because successive state governments have failed to invest in the services and infrastructure that we need for our city to thrive. I have been to countless community consultations since being elected, and not once have I heard someone say, "We're full, shut the doors, put up the sign, we're closed." Instead, what you hear them say is, "Well, where are those new 7,000 people going to send their kids to school? How will they get on the train in the morning, given that we cannot already get on the train?" They will say what is going to happen to where they are going to ride their bike, where they are going to park their car, how they are going to enjoy a picnic in the park when the green space that you propose on this urban growth design is actually already a block of flats. These are the questions they ask, and usually at that point the PR consultant will say, that's outside the scope of this project, that's actually a responsibility of the Minister for Education, or that's something that the Department for Roads looks at, and they will move on to discussing how many new dwellings they are going to put in place. Let us seize the moment here and call out the real culprits, and that is the Liberal government and their failure to put our community needs first. This is not about wanting to shut down Sydney's borders and deciding who shouldn't get to live here, but instead, you don't have to dig very deep to find the anti-immigration undertones that allow people to whip up fear in this debate, and all of a sudden it's the refugees causing the traffic congestion, or it's the Chinese investors causing the housing affordability crisis, when in actual fact it is the failure of successive governments, both Liberal and Labor governments, to address the community needs that we have to be able to deliver the services, the infrastructure and the things that we need to make our vibrant cities thrive. And before anyone starts to think that I've drunk the developer Kool-Aid, or that anyone thinks that I'm advocating for a process that wouldn't allow sustainability in our cities, let me be clear. We need to see community-led development. We need to recognise that people that live in the city like living in densely populated areas. But we only like doing this if we see our governments providing the services and the things that we need in our community. So our community will continue to object to overdevelopment when they are about maximising developer profit, building ugly and unsustainable developments that block out our sunlight or don't provide for any new affordable or public housing dwellings like they're suggesting to do in certain parts of Redfern and Waterloo. We will continue to object to new developments that involve the privatisation of public land, like we've seen at the Australian Technology Park site, where basically the money for that sell-off was supposed to provide for a lift upgrade at Redfern Station that still has not been realised. And we will continue to object to new developments when they come simply with numbers of increased dwellings without the associated connection with other services and community needs. We are seeing announcements for Parramatta Road corridor that see huge increases to density, but no additional land for schools, no land for parks, no transport strategy, no new libraries, no new childcare places. When you look at Taverners Hill, they're proposing the increase will be from 700 to 3,000 new residents, but only one new tiny pocket park and no new libraries or schools. As someone once said to me, if you're having a party with 100 people at your house, you don't wait for them to arrive before you decide what you are going to feed them. We are not full, we are just growing, and we need to make sure that our infrastructure keeps up.
Call a member for